in the future, this one can.
Y'all gotta get up.
I think I'm ready, bro.
It's like giving her crap.
I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready.
Bismillah.
Yeah.
Bismillah walhamdulillah wa sallallahu wa sallam ala rasulillah wa alihi wa sahbihi wa man ittaqa. Assalamu alaikum. كيف حالكم؟ لا بأس الحمد لله جزاكم الله خير الحمد لله. Okay, I've been going over you guys' homework, with regards to the wala wal bara. The only reason I haven't gone back to that issue is because, remember I wrote on the board SMART? Who remembers that? That we set SMART goals? Anybody remember what that is? Specific, right? The M stands for what? Measurable. Measurable. How do we measure it?
Specific, measurable.
How do we measure our goal? Homeworks and tests, okay? What does A stand for? Attainable, okay? And attainable has to take into consideration what? The T, the time frame, right? The timeliness of it. Our time frame is Ramadan, okay? So, the main specific goal we have is to finish a generalized understanding of fiqh. Does that make sense? The issue of wala wal bara is so, important and so impacting on our day-to-day lives, especially what I say about fiqh. What do you have to take in consideration when you do fiqh?
History.
Thank you, history. And we see history happening every day, right? Okay? The Kaaba is shut down, right? That's not happened before, has it? Haven't we had viruses before? AIDS and different things like that? Ebola and all these other things? So we have to understand the politics of the world when you put into consideration who is doing what and for whom. Because I told you guys some long time ago, I said that you will notice that they were hiring a lot of quarantine guards. Remember, I saying they're hiring a lot of quarantine guards, but there's no reason for these quarantine guards. And I said, what's going to happen in the future? There's going to have a reason for these quarantine guards, right? Do you see it happening? Okay, and that's where this is going. There has to be a global, outcry and fear. And if only America and the European countries are saying it, then nobody cares, right? So you have to get something that impacts on the whole world. The only place that impacts on the whole world is the Kaaba. Does that make sense? It's the world center. Everybody, in fact, in the past, whenever they wanted any invention or any new thing to be sold, where did they take it? To Hajj. They took it to Hajj. And after the Ayyam al-Hajj, the Tashriq, then people start selling and doing all this stuff like that. And that thing you sold here, you brought here and you made it and took it to Hajj with you, it's all over the world. Does that make sense? Okay. New York was considered the World Trade Center. Okay? Like in a secular way. It was competing with what? The Kaaba. Does that make sense? So, again, I don't want to get into the wala wal bara too much because I see that this trend is getting ready to do something. And they got the right person in office to do it. No, seriously. He has established himself that, yes, I will. No matter what. He's established a tone, I don't care about public opinion. Right? That's important for you to understand. And he is being supported. He is not by himself. He's just the cameraman for a group of a body of people. Does that make sense? All right. So for us, what we need to do is to really understand basic fiqh so that we can make certain decisions. Like hijrah. Okay? Whether you think it's well enough to stay here and what may happen here. Because now let's say, for instance, they say tomorrow we're going to start, it's mandatory testing everybody for this particular disease, right? or virus. What did they say they're doing in China? Disappearing whole Muslim populations, right? You don't think it can happen here? You don't think so? Then all of a sudden you take a test, it says, oh, you might have, they got so much the drug now, you got pre-diabetes, right? You got pre-diabetes just in case, let's take you over here. And then everybody's so afraid, right? Not just that you might have it, but to say anything. And ain't nobody gonna say nothing.
No.
And if they do, they don't gonna say it in their home. We don't even complain about potholes in the hood. So what do you think we're gonna do? Seriously. The roads in the hood are worse than the roads not in the hood. And that's because people don't complain, or they only complain amongst themselves. Does that make sense? This is where this is going. And then you see the real reason for that wall. That they make it. What they had made. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I want to, where is she?
No, it's okay.
Mashallah, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Instead of the bottles, I bought that. The things that you was asking for. Alhamdulillah. So now, I gave you guys a homework assignment. Okay, the homework is
written out because I didn't know if you wanted it written out. I didn't write it out. I just looked it up.
all the homework has to be written out. You twins, stop talking over there. You tell your son on it. You do it backwards. Son get in trouble, he tells parents. Now parents tell the son. No, alhamdulillah.
If I turn it in next time I come.
I don't want you to turn it in today. Okay? I want you to have it though. That's what I want. I wanted you to have it yourselves. Okay? I want everybody to have that because when I looked at my mental notes on what we did in class and we didn't finish. So I want to do it again. Let's start all over again with that particular thing. With an I, take out your proofs. Who was able to find proofs for everything? Okay, 1, 2, not your left hand. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Not quite everything.
Not quite everything, okay?
Not quite.
Anybody else?
Okay, some.
If you're late, if you don't come to class, you have to talk to somebody in the class and get the homework. Not coming to class is not an excuse for not doing the assignments. Okay?
Understood.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And that's for people that's online as well. You want to take part in the class? This is not education, entertainment. What do you call it? Education, entertainment. We're learning. Sorry? Infotainment, right. It's not just for your information purposes only. This is for you to act upon it in your life. Does that make sense? Now, the historical pieces are for information purposes only. I'm not telling you to do anything about that. What I am telling you to do is the things we learn Islamically, you're supposed to apply them in your practical life. Or there is no benefit with knowledge that is not acted upon. Does that make sense? إذا لم تقرأ ولم تكن فاهما فموتكم خير من حياتكم دائما حياة بلا علم حياة مضيعة والعلم بلا تقى العلم لن ينفع. This is one of the first poems you should learn. إذا لم تقرأ, what does that mean? You guys should know Arabic enough yet. لا تقل شيئا يا شيخ. إذا, what does إذا mean? When? إذا لم تقرأ.
You don't read.
If you don't read. ولم تكن. And you're not. Right? فاهما. Understanding. فموتكم.
Death.
Then death.
Death
خير
is better
من حياتكم
than your life.
دائما.
Always.
Right, then you're always better off dead. That's what it would mean. If you put it in the Arabic format, it doesn't make sense. But if you take that understanding and trace it to the English sentence structure, you get it. Then you're better off dead. Hayatun bila ilmin.
Without knowledge.
Hayatun مضيعة. لا يضيع الله. ضيع. Wasted. Right. والعلم بلا تقى. Without taqwa. تقى. العلم لن ينفع. Will never benefit. لن ينفع. إذا لم تقرأ ولم تكن فاهما فموتكم خير من حياتكم دائما حياة بلا علم حياة مضيعة والعلم بلا تقى العلم لن ينفع. هل فهمتم؟ أيوة. So that's our mentality. It's not just rhetorical to us. That's our mentality. We study, right? Not just to study. Because without having no knowledge, you don't understand that. You don't read, you don't understand nothing. Right? They used to say 3 days without reading leaves a person, makes speech wasteless. Hence, we're told to, the first word Allah tells us to do is what? Iqra. What is He telling us to read? The Quran, right? And understand the Quran. And then if you're studying the Quran, you get world history, right? Everything put in its proper context. Right? What purpose in life and everything's about. And then that makes your everyday, today interactions more sensitive, more alive, more meaningful. Does that make sense? And not only do you have knowledge of it, bila tuqa, with taqwa, taqwa causes you to do something about it. Does that make sense? Why did they stay in the house if the house was on fire? Well, they didn't believe it was going to burn them. That's us. You say, oh, they're crazy. Well, you live in America. Right? We have knowledge, but we're not willing to do anything about it. That's just as any knowledge. A house burning down, people coming to kill you. You see them sharpening their swords over the hill. And you sit there and say, people crazy. They always making violence. They start organizing and training. Man, them guys always starting trouble. You don't do nothing. They start marching this way. What y'all gonna have for dinner? Oh man, I don't like so-and-so. Yeah, I don't like so-and-so too. I don't, what they do? That's what we're doing. We can't see what's going on, but we're not willing to do anything about it. And they say you ain't gonna step on a grape in a fruit fight. I don't want to be that individual. So what does that mean? It means that even in a fruit fight, won't even step on a little grape. So we have to be willing to act upon what we learn, whatever it may mean to you. Where do we start? We start with ibadah, right? We start with ibadah and we work our way through the whole text of what Islam is about. And in that, certain little changes will take place. At the same time, since Ramadan is coming up, instead of, everybody should still be reading one book a week, right? If we were continuously with that, I said we should do this by studying biographies at this time frame, right? Keep studying biographies, because by studying those biographies, you become more and more inclined to act upon. You see how they acted on this aqidah and fiqh. Does that make sense? Well, now I'm going to suggest that you start reading Jalalain, the tafsir of Ibn Kathir in English. Now, don't wait till Ramadan. Try to finish the Quran as far as tafsir from now before Ramadan comes. So that when Ramadan comes, you're already finished reading the whole tafsir of the Quran. Now, who thinks that's a lot? Good. No, I'm saying good because people think that that's a lot.
Jalalain.
Jalalain is easy. It's like almost a word for word of it. If you follow me online, I'm doing it. Okay? Inshallah ta'ala. So if you don't want to read, listen to it. Okay, I won't take sidebars because we're just going to focus on what the basic tafsir is. And then we plan on doing the whole Ibn Kathir in the same vein so that people can understand basically what is in the Quran. We suffer from a lack of understanding the Quran. Just being totally oblivious to the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us. Does that make sense? And if we can correct just that, because we so claim to follow the Quran and the Sunnah, yet don't know anything about the Quran. When I say anything, I'm saying not even a third. That's less than half, right? No, is it half? Less than half, right. It's less than half. I have to do, I'm not the math guy, I'm a reader. But you guys get my point? We don't know that much about the book. And if we knew so much more about it, it would affect us more. So let's get back into our basic fiqh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Yes sir.
In the news, there is a celestial mass that is approaching the earth. And if it is massive enough and heavy enough, it may affect the earth. It is really on large.
قلت ايش يعني؟ ما
It's a
فهمت.
massive body,
يعني جسم يعني ايش؟
a big body,
of what يعني؟
a big body of stone.
يعني من السماء الفضوية
Yes, celestial.
يأتي إلى الأرض
No.
إن شاء الله.
If it didn't,
Break up.
if it didn't get away from the earth.
It needs to get away from the earth, from the gravitational pull.
Yeah.
Or okay, so they're saying now that they do a lot of things to scare. They see one of the Allah tells us in the Quran that Shaitan, one of his biggest types of da'wah is to sell fear, right? When I was in Egypt, they had this one program. They said it used to be the American dream, right? And now it's the American nightmare, right? You saw that? I was it's like this. And that's what they sell. They sell the American nightmare. And this just tears up your anxiety and your nervous system. You know, your blood pressure gets up. Oh, we're going to die from this. Oh, we're going to die from that. All this other thing. No, we're going to die from Allah. Okay? Period, point blank. Okay? Now, the earth has been here how long? You know what I'm saying? Allahu Alam. They don't know. Sometimes when they say, well, it's only this one, they don't know because Allah said there was Qur'un that He made them wipe away without a trace. So they can't find it chronologically according to the scientific rule of we have to see it apparently. And that's why Allah says in the Quran, they know only the apparent things of the dunya. But of the things of the akhirah, of the unseen things, they have no knowledge. They're unmindful, they don't pay attention to that. This earth is protected. Now let's look just basic science. What is this earth protected with? A force field. How is that force field made of? Anybody? Come on, guys, basic science. 2 poles, 2 magnetic poles. What happened?
Magnetism.
That's right. I wish Hassan was here. He'd be able to tell you physically with that magnetism going on. It's like these fingers going that way, like that. Anything you can't get out and you can't get in. That's why they made that thing the Challenger trying to break out, right? I said they never break out of this, right? People said, oh, they went to the moon. And I tried to show you guys, look, do you know how far the moon is from the earth? You can fit every planet in this system, all 9 of them, even if you don't think there are 9, between this earth and the moon, and it'll still be 5,000 miles distance. That means Pluton, Saturn, all those planets between the earth and the moon. Okay? It's a big distance, right? And the moon can't get away because of the gravitational electronic pull. Does that make sense? When they shot that ship up, what happened to the Challenger? Everybody inside was disintegrated, right? First of all, you have to ask yourself, why did they call it the Challenger if they've been there before? And now you know if they had gone to the moon, there'd be a Starbucks up there now. Right?
At least McDonald's.
Or at least a McDonald's, right? He got first dibs. No other country in the world ever claimed to be up on the moon. Right? But they just sit silent. Y'all want to believe it? We ain't going to say nothing. We ain't going to bust a grape on our cousin. They ain't going to say nothing. But they ain't going to say it. Not even Russia, who still today has a better outer space program. Right?
Yes.
So that force field that we call the atmosphere is not going to it's also protecting anything from coming in. What happens when a meteor comes into our solar system?
Burns up.
Not only it burns up, it breaks up as it comes into our in our field. Why is it breaking up? Because the magnetic force it has to chop through is like lasers. That magnetism is busting it in pieces. And then whatever it doesn't bust into it breaks into smaller pieces, right? And those smaller pieces normally hit the earth in the water, right? And very rarely in our lifetimes, we can't count on 5 fingers how many times the meteors have hit in a populated area. Can anybody? Does that make sense?
No.
So, not saying it cannot happen or it may not ever happen. Allah knows best. You know, when he says the sky is going to be ripped asunder, Allah knows best what that means. But you don't believe these people, because إِذَا جَاءَكُمْ فَاسِقٌ بِنَبَإٍ فَتَبَيَّنُوا. You know, if any of these people come with you with any news, then find out, ascertain the truth before you believe them about anything. Does that make sense? Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
Going along with what you're saying, I think what I heard the other night is very profound. I heard it on NPR. There's some woman that working in a high position, I think it was at NASA, but she said that they took a photo. They claimed themselves taking a photo of Mars. But she said when she looked at this photo, she didn't see anything but darkness and one little teeny weeny blue dot. And when she looked closer and was able to determine what it was the Earth. She said she was really taken aback because she didn't know what it was. And she said, these people think that we're going to get to Mars. She said, but we're not going to go to Mars. She said, if we don't get along and take care of this Earth, there's nowhere to run. She said, we're alone. We're alone in this atmosphere. She said the whole vast area around the Earth was black. There was nothing close by that we could get to.
Alhamdulillah, I believe that there are planets out there. Allah says Rabbul Alameen, so that's the plural of all the planets and everything. But it's not something we really even need to debate, because we don't have any dalil, qati' about anything except for what we have here. The whole thing about NASA is a big scam. That they take all these millions of dollars to say there's going to be some objects and they've never really gone out there. That's just, again, a big scam. And Allah knows best. The practical things that I want to focus on is the things that we can do something about, like our mental health, our spiritual health, our physical health. Sometimes when I'm coming here, I see so many people, and because I've traveled around, I've seen our people in other places, and here in the United States, we're looking more and more like Aborigines. You ever see the Aborigines in Australia and stuff like that? They're so marginalized. You would never know that was their country. They're so, treated so much, almost a little bit more than a beast. Then when we see the African here in the United States with this weave in their hair, going to the doctor, every time they go, they get their wombs cut out. Every woman that goes is told that she can't have a baby, that she has to, that she has to have a cesarean, right? As though women haven't been giving birth to big head babies their whole life, And I mean, since the beginning of time. You get my point?
Yeah.
And these types, and half of this is because of our own ignorance. A woman goes to the hospital from our community, she has no birthing plan. No birthing plan. You know what the hospital does? Anybody tell me? If you have no birthing plan, they make one for you. Okay? They don't tell you you're supposed to have one. And that's why other people get treated differently, because they have a birthing plan when they get there. And they tell those people, this is my birthing plan. But we don't. Why? Because we don't want to listen. The ladies don't want to listen to the men. The ladies just want to listen to the lady. And there's another out there. And there's a man is this and he ain't that. We got from birth to death. And we can do something about that, because Islam has come to preserve and protect, prioritize. Tell us what we should put first. And always protect my deen first and foremost. My mind, my wealth, my honor. Okay? What else? My lineage, myself. And this is the purpose of all of the Sharia. The whole laws are to preserve these fundamentals. And that's why in the beginning, that's the first thing we taught, right? So that we can always refer back to why are we doing this. This is so we can have the proper prioritization. We may not be able to do anything about what they're doing in Nassau or what they're doing with the Ebola or the newest Ebola, because they've been being drug dealers and poisoning us for thousands of years. If you ever studying history, the Crusaders did nothing but poison. What did the people come over here and do to the Native Americans over here? Poison. What they do to us in Africa? Poison. Germ warfare is their biggest thing. Okay? Does that make sense? So we may not be able to do anything specifically and as a group, but we can do some other specific things for ourselves. And that's what we should focus on. Does that make sense? Okay, so I gave my word. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I gave my word. Send blessings on
the Prophet and respect scholars ijtihad.
all Muslimin.
Pray, fight, and shaitan in every
And
way.
I want to make it again. Study and pray means study means work. Study means work. Over and over and over and over and over.